Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons and wow, it really does not feel like it's Eurovision 2017 season already, but sure enough, yesterday Albania held Festivali Këngës number 55, I think, with a rather clever looking logo, but I'm not here to review their logo, I'm here to review their song. And this year, they've gone with Lindita Halimi and the song Botë, which means world. It's currently performed in the Albanian language. Music and lyrics by Gerald Jari, I'm not sure how you pronounce letter X in Albanian, and Claudian Chafoku. That was lyricist and composer in that order. Yeah, I'm being more informative than usual with these reviews because I'm constantly trying to improve my game, and if you're new to the channel, hello. So, what are my first impressions for this song then? Well, oh boy, what a note to start the Eurovision 2017 season on, am I right? First things first, I'm the realist. I should mention that it's no secret that I've been critical of the Albanian Eurovision strategy as a whole for a while. I have maintained that Festivali Këngës is a great selection vehicle for singers, but not so much for songs. That said, this also comes in the same calendar year as the absolute showstopper that was Botë in the junior contest, Klesa Chahaya. Absolutely brilliant song. One of the few junior songs that I actually did a review of because I'm just so good at that. I digress. So, I had no idea what to expect going into this one because Albania's just a tad bit unpredictable like that. What I ended up running face first into was a song that I ended up not just liking, but absolutely properly jamming out to by the end. Like, excuse me? Albania? Are you feeling okay? But this worries me, I admit, because this really could go one of about 4 different ways for Albania. Option 1, they don't revamp it. That has its pros and cons, being as it is, well, written for Festivali Këngës and the orchestra. It'd make the song sound maybe a bit dated compared to what it's likely to come up against in Kiev, so it could work the song's fine as it is, but if they don't revamp it, it may get left behind. Option 2, they do revamp it, and the revamp sucks. See for reference, Parala. That had some good points and some bad points. I reviewed that back in the day. That was a thing that happened, and it was fine when it was chosen, and while the revamp did clean up a lot of what I didn't like about it, it also lopped the balls right off that song and took away all of its power, so if they revamp it, they should be a bit careful. But, and here's a huge but, there's option 3. They do revamp it, and the revamp is amazing. If they do to this what they did to Botë in the junior contest, this could be an absolute stunner. Now, I'm not going to delude myself. Just because I like it doesn't mean it's inherently going to do well, but there's some definite potential here. And then, of course, there's option 4. They pull a 2015, decide that the copyright holders of the song don't want to send it to Eurovision, and they send something completely different, which is a possibility. And in that case, you'll get something out of the Albanian music industry, rather than the Albanian National Theatre Company, and they probably would qualify, but probably not going to happen. Foreshadowing? But okay, slightly more analytical talk here. Now, in previous years, I did good points and bad points about each song. I'm not going to do that anymore, because it seems a little bit like I could word it better. So from now on, I'm going based on what I like and what I don't like, because that sounds a little bit more subjective, so if you don't like what I say, then you can dislike me rather than the video. I don't know, I'm trying to be considerate here. So what do I like about this song? Well, based on the live performance in the final of Festivali Këngës, it's obvious that there's a lot of emotion in this one, and it's really, really well conveyed. I admit, beyond the title, I have no idea what she's actually singing about. Like, yeah, Botë, world. This song could be about literally anything. But I can tell that whatever it is she's singing, she really, really means it. It's conveyed so very well, and she's more than capable of selling the audience on whatever it is she's singing about. Clearly it worked with the Albanian juries. Could it work in Kiev? I don't speak Albanian. My point in all this is it doesn't sound fake or forced. That's the general gist of this point. Now, perhaps I say this a lot when judging Eurovision candidates, but I mean, I've been doing this for 2014, 2015, 2016. This is my 4th year of reviewing Eurovision contestants, so I'm bound to repeat myself at least a little, but Lindita has proven that she has a great voice live. It's really well suited to this genre of song, so clearly she knows her business, she knows what she's doing, she's got the right song for her voice. Though there is one point that I hesitate over in that regard, but I'll get to that when I get to that. While we're looking at what I do like, though, I simply must bring up the pacing of this song. It's very well executed, very well paced. It doesn't... how can I put this? It's not too slow to get to where it's going, but it does go somewhere, and it doesn't get there so fast that half of the song feels redundant. If you need an example of what I mean by that, I shall point you in the direction of the Netherlands 2015, Treintje Oosterhuis and Walk Along. That song got to where it was going too quickly, and so half the song felt unnecessary. This song doesn't do that. It's very, very well paced. Shall I repeat myself a third time? As the song builds up, we get to hear some absolutely beautiful harmonies between Lindita and her backing singers, and of course the backing singers amongst themselves, but they don't get the credit because it's Lindita's song. But anyway, that whole tune, those harmonies work really, really well against the backdrop of the piano riff towards the beginning. If you listen to the song, you know the bit I mean. It's within the first minute or so. Overall, this song is really well composed and really well performed. And also I feel like it would mash up really well with Are We Awake by Tal, but that's a story for an entirely different day. For now though, what do I not like about this song quite so much? Because I want to have a balanced review for every song. I want to have some good, some bad for everyone, just so that I'm fair. So, I'm not gonna lie, as Albanian Eurovision entries go, especially ones that are fresh out of the oven that is Festivali Këngës, this is a tad plain and formulaic, it's a bit by the books. As I've said, there is absolutely some definite potential in this one, but it's gonna take a revamp to truly draw that out. And that, as we're painfully aware with Albania, is a massive gamble. It could turn out great, it could be Besoj 2.0, but by that same token, it could backfire horribly. See for reference, well, Parala, and what that turned into. Overall, the pieces are absolutely there, but this one does need a little bit of a Eurovision-friendly spit polish to truly bring it out, to truly let it shine. Besides that, the style of the song in its current form calls for a fair bit of vocal strain, if you know what I mean, from Lindita's voice. And that's fine, she's proven that she's capable of doing that, but if something goes wrong on the night if her vocals aren't up to scratch, then not only will it show to an almost painful, tangible degree, but it'll also do immense damage to the whole song, which, I mean, no duh. If the singer can't sing, then it's going to do damage to the song. No, she can sing, but if her vocals don't strain in the right way, then there's almost a risk that she'll just get swallowed up by the instrumentation and the backing singers, which is impressive because I think the instrumentation does need a bit more of a kick, but whatever. Also, if her microphone isn't loud enough, sort of like Slovenia 2015, then it's absolute curtains for this song, which is kind of a pun because I've got this pinned to the blinds of my window, but you're not supposed to see that. That's me chewing the set quite literally. But anyway, these are all hypotheticals. So, score out of 10. I'm doing this differently from this year onwards. Instead of just giving my score out of 10, I'm now going to give two ratings. One, my personal, completely subjective, completely biased score out of 10, and also a technical score out of 10. What do I think as far as composition goes? So first of all, my own personal subjective rating out of 10, I give this one a 9. I actually really like it as it currently is, which for a raw Festivali Këngës song is not only impressive, but like a world record or something. Like, this is the exception rather than the rule. That is just my personal opinion, though. To my ear, it's fun, it's an enjoyable listen. I absolutely wouldn't tune out from it if I heard it on the radio, and there's some real emotion in there. I like it, it connects with me. Whether the inevitable revamp helps or hinders it is a question for another time, though. I do wonder where this song's going to end up going. Now, the technical score out of 10, I'm going to give this an 8. You can tell it's been written for the Festivali Këngës orchestra, and thick songs are getting less and less compatible with Eurovision, not just by the year, but by the second. However, there is the potential for a brilliant Eurovision entry in there. Not a winner, necessarily, but a brilliant song nonetheless. Brilliant enough to qualify at any rate, assuming they revamp it correctly and don't just cut out the entire bass line in the chorus, or something like that. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, time is definitely going to tell with this one, but I have to give it credit. All the right components are there, it just needs a Eurovision-friendly touch. Preferably not from Thomas Gieson, but I don't think Albania's ever stooped to that low. Moving on. Compared to last year, Well, in fairness, as I always do with Albanian entries, I'm going to compare the song as it currently is with the original Festivali Këngës version of Paralla, the non-revamped version, because it wouldn't really be fair to compare the final version of Eneda's fairy tale with what most likely isn't the final version of Botë. And on that scale, it's suddenly immensely difficult to compare, because if we're comparing Botë with fairy tale, then Botë wins easily, but compared to Paralla specifically... Ugh. Well, Paralla had so much more force behind it before the revamp. It was more mysterious, more brooding. And overall, in comparison, as an FIK song, Botë is much safer. But for Albania, that might be a good thing. It's really hard to call on this. I think, for the moment, I will tentatively say that Paralla was a better Festivali Këngës song, but I predict here and now that Botë will probably end up being the better Eurovision song once it's been revamped. For the moment, I think Paralla had more potential, and that potential was wasted. This has more potential that may yet be used. We shall see. Finally, do I think it'll qualify? Well, I mean, come on, it's the first song of the year, so first of all, you know that tradition where the first song is chosen and then people start churning out my Eurovision top ones? Can that please die as a tradition? Because please don't do that. But yeah, it's impossible to call because it's the first song of the year, and ha ha ha, you're so hilarious, your top one is Albania, I never would have guessed. Can we please just cut that? As I've said throughout this review, this song has so much potential behind it, which Paralla did too, in fairness, and that didn't qualify because that potential was wasted, but I've said that so many times already. The question remains whether or not Lindita will have the privilege of being able to capitalise on that potential. This could go one of two ways, ultimately, assuming they don't change the song entirely, like in 2015. My goodness, so many allusions to 2015 in this review. They could either not revamp it or revamp it poorly, possibly forcing in some questionable quality English lyrics where they're not needed, and then have it get lost in the semi-finals again, or they could revamp it really well, they could pull a Bessoy on this one, and... they could polish it up for the Eurovision stage, and they could make it into the final, albeit in about 8th, 9th, maybe 10th place at the moment. I admit, I don't foresee this winning at the moment, no matter how they revamp it, because the voting public are far too skeptical of Albania's style. This is just based on what I've seen so far on social media, etc., and there's not been enough hype around this one as it currently stands. So to cut a long story short, this one entirely hinges on what they do with it now that it's been chosen. I like it, and I think it deserves to qualify, but of course I don't have anything to compare it to yet, so time will tell with this one. That's the moral here. So it could qualify, it could not qualify. It entirely, the ball is in entirely your court here, Albania. So I will say that for now, well, good luck to you, and we will see you, for better or for worse, in Kiev.